Oh, hey, this is Witch Nikki again. Now, I was just on here doing a beginner's tutorial on how to start crocheting. Whatever size hook you use, whatever kind of yarn. Can you? Hello, I'm Witch Nikki, and I'm doing very slow tutorials on crocheting for beginners. The reason why I'm doing this, there's plenty of them out there. But I'm not really a beginner, and I'm not a professional. Now I've done plenty of items. I've done beanies and caps. I've done quilts or blankets. I've done purses. I've even done little toys. Most of my items right now are put away, so I only have very limited amount of yarn. I'm probably not going to make a project yet with you. I can show you one that I'm working on so you could see that I'm not professional. This tutorial is for beginners only. I'm doing one of these infinity scarves. And you can see that the edge is not perfect. But I don't care. What in this life is actually perfect? I will be putting them together anyways when I finish. Then it will look something like this. It's not very long because on the tutorial I was watching on here, she said to do like 120 stitches or something like that. So I don't have very much yarn, so I'm very limited on how much I will be doing. This really won't twist around again unless it's going to go very tight, and it's probably not going to. I would like to make a snood, but I don't have enough for that either. I just kind of wanted something to do right now, because we're going through a move and a lot of my crafts are put away. So this is all that I had, is some scraps. And I'm all out of this really pretty rainbow color. This is it. I like that, but I had just enough to put it in there 3 times, and that was it, and that's okay. So I'm doing just a single crochet stitch through here. It looks different because I'm using the same hook, but the thickness of the yarn is different. The black is thinner than the rainbow color. You see there's a difference there. So that's why it's kind of different. And that's okay. You can learn how to do crocheting, and you can learn from here just the motions, how to do it, and then you'll understand the other tutorials out there that go a little bit faster. Sometimes they're saying how to crochet this. Have you seen that one? Or there's probably a few. They're doing it, and you only see their hands, somebody's hands doing it. But they don't talk. They play music through the whole thing, which is very frustrating. I can't see what you're doing when you're doing this. Nobody can. So those I don't consider to be tutorials. Are just somebody sitting there knitting. If you want to knit or crochet like that, go on TikTok and do that on a live, because that's what they're all doing over there too. So it kind of made me feel frustrated when I was watching these people doing this. I'm like, I wanted a tutorial on how to do it, and they're just going so fast. Now, during 2020, I bought a whole bunch of crochet needles, and there's the long ones. I forgot what these are for, but it's for a stitch, and I know how to do it. There's several other of those stitches. When I remember the name of it, I'll put it down below in a comment and pin it to the top. If you know the name of the long ones, go ahead and tell me, because I'm still kind of learning and things are hard for me to remember sometimes. Because I'm going through a new medication that makes it hard for me to remember sometimes. It's for my thyroid. Anyways, so we're already 6 minutes into here, and I already did the beginning where I did the knot, so try to stay with me. This one's going to go a little bit faster. Go around, pinch it like that. Take it off your finger just a little bit, but hold on to it, but just enough that you could go through and pull the string through. That makes your first little loop. It's not even considered the stitch until you start adding it onto the working end. This is just the slip knot, and I'll show you why. You pull both ends, it disappears. Makes it easier for you if you're taking out your crochet, you get to the end and poof, you just start over again. You could pull this loop through any way that you want to. Some people say you could even just put a knot at the end. I don't. So we're not going to work with this end because there's not enough. You're going to work with the end that goes to the ball. That's called the working end. Now, everybody's going to be different when you do this. This is to add a tension, because you can't just put this in here and then start doing like this. See, it's not working when you just do this. You can't. So you have to make it have tension. This is loose and this has tension. Loose, tension. Okay? So what I like to do is loop it around like this, over this finger, and back down here where I hold on to it. This also gives it tension. You can't just go like this. You need to use both of your hands. I'm not trying to be mean or anything. I'm just trying to be very clear on what to do. So, like I said before in the other video, you have the hook. Turn it so that it's facing you. Cross over, hold it like this. I'm just holding it like this. I'm not going to crochet completely like this the whole time. So cross over, push the hook down, twist it, and get it to come up and around like that. And then you're going to pull it through this hoop. Let me do it again. Cross over, pull this over, pull it through. Just keep doing that. And when you can't hold this anymore, so that it's taut, because you don't want this hoop to get it big. You'll have big stitches. Let me show you how it looks if you're doing it like this. See, it's gonna look sloppy. It's not gonna be functional. So you want to get these chains, this is called a chain. You want them to be pretty much the same size, and that's why you hold it like this. You put the tension on it. You hold this close so that you can control it. Otherwise, it's going to get too big. So here we go again. Hook towards you, cross over, go around, pull it through. Now, I don't know if you could see, but you just need to kind of pull up and down. It will get it too tight or tighter, or you can loosen it up by just pulling it. It will also disappear. If you pull on this, poof, it's gone. Poof, it's gone. See that? So you want to be careful not to let that happen. So you just hold on to it. Hook towards you, cross over, go around. See how I'm kind of like this. Pull it through. Holding it like this will keep the chain uniform with the next one. You want them to be as even as possible. If you see that they're starting to get too uneven, then you need to take it out and just start from where you've noticed. Like take them out until you start to see that they're all the same. Okay, the same thing is if you want a specific amount on here, because you want it to be longer or shorter depending on what you're making. And if you're just making a little sample square to practice, then that's what you're making, and it's okay. Now let me show you just on a bigger hook what will happen to the size of this hoop chain. See how bigger it is? Even if you pull it, it's still going to be bigger. It's going to be a bigger hoop or chain. I'm still holding this tight, giving it tension. Okay, that's kind of enough to show you that there's quite a difference, isn't there? See how small it is? Because it's going tighter on a smaller hook, and on a bigger hook, it's bigger. The bigger hooks you might want to use with thicker yarn. Something like this, or even thicker. This is for a different one too, but let me show you how it looks. It'll look pretty much the same as the first one that I was using. I don't want to confuse anybody. I'm just showing you there's different yarns, thicknesses for different hooks. So I've done a few on here now, and you see the difference. See how it gets bigger for the green one that I was using? Now it gets smaller. This is just a little bit bigger than the end one. Okay. This will just make your yarn and the different chains that you do a little bit looser or a little bit tighter. What are you going to make? So let me do this all again. It's okay. It's okay to take your time, and if it's not looking right for one reason or another, take it out and start again. That's how we learn. It's okay. So pick a number like 12. We'll do 12. This is just the beginning, so we don't count this as 1. We count the next one as 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Did you see how I let my finger and thumb come closer and closer? Okay. Because, here we go. This is 12. It's not very much. Okay. If you don't keep up your tension close to here, the chains will start to look uneven. Let me show you. See how it's getting harder for me to hold it because this is out of control. And so these are starting to get a little bit bigger. And it's getting harder to hold on to it and to control the stitches of it. You can already see now there's a change. These are bigger a little bit than back here. Okay, so I just take it out. And I have 12, let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. This hoop is not a chain. It's not a stitch. It's just part of it, but it's not complete. Each one that is complete, you'll see that they have sort of like a little V. All of them have like that little V. This is a hoop. It's a loop, whatever you want to call it. Sorry, the sun's coming in at a weird angle. So now that we've gone on to 18 minutes here, so when you start again, it's like the phone rings and you're like, okay, and then you come back from whatever distraction you had. Count to make sure. And what I like to do is if I have a distraction, I pull this further and just leave it there. Okay? Because this will tell me this is where I left off. And you just bring it back down. See, if you leave it like this, it might pull out and you might just lose a couple. The cat or dog might knock it and you might lose a couple. So I pull it way out. You can also put some kind of little clip. Some people use paper clips. Some people use the other clips that you can buy in the store. But why buy something in the store when you can make your own? I can use a clothespin or a paper clip or a safety pin. and just safety pin it, and it's not going to go anywhere. You don't want your animals eating the yarn. It could be very dangerous and hazardous. Don't let your cats play with yarn. I learned the hard way when I was young. My cat was under the bed, and it ate some of the yarn, and so it had just like, it got stuck on the cat's tongue and get pulled into the cat, and I was like, what the heck? So I pulled it, and it just kept pulling and pulling. I pulled out about this much yarn, and I had a friend one time who I made a baby blanket, crocheted a baby blanket, and her dog got it and chewed it and chewed it when she wasn't around, and then she had to take the dog to the hospital and have surgery. There was a lot of yarn in there. So anyways, let's try to make something now. I'm just going to do a single crochet. I know what that is. I know what it's called. Some of them I don't know what they're called. Because when I was learning this in the church, the other girls were catching on, but I was slower at watching what they're doing. I couldn't understand. Like somebody's in front of me. That's why I'm trying to show you from different angles, because I wasn't learning, and the instructor was not going to each of us to see what are we doing right or what are we doing wrong. I had to kind of look over people's shoulders to see what are they doing and figure it out myself. So now, what do you do with these 12 stitches? Let's just make a little sample thingy. So how we're going to do that is, you're not going to go in, you need to go into the next chain next to the working hoop. Let's call this like a working hoop. Other people are going to call it whatever they want. So right into here, each one of those where there's the V, we're going to go back into those, each one. And how we do that is, let me find it here, right here. You're just going to lift this up a little bit so that you can go back into the very first V. You're going to go, see how it's in? Let me show you. Like that. And just go into there. You're holding this. The hook is facing you. You're going to pull the working end in that one. Now you've made 2. Okay? Now you're going to do this again and pull it through 2. That's your first complete single crochet. Then move your finger back to the next one. You'll see the next V right there. Next to it, you poke it in. You pull through 1. And now there's 2. You do it again around the hook. Pull it through 2. And then do your adjustment. So you're going to go down to the next little V. Don't do it in the same one. Let me show you. Let me stop a minute and show you. It's okay. See, this is where we've just come out. So the next one is right next to it, right here. Always put your tension back on your fingers however it feels best for you. Go in the next little V. I like to keep my fingers on the rest of them so that they're not confusing me. You put the hook through, grab this yarn through, and then you have two. Do it again, wrap it around, pull this yarn, the working yarn, through two. Okay. And you just repeat it. You just keep going. And you have to kind of work it. Stay at one chain at a time with your hands and the hook. So it's like, the hook is in the working hoop, and we're working this way. So this part is getting bigger, and so I'm telling you this because sometimes you put down your yarn for whatever reason, you come back and maybe it got twisted around and you're like, no, see, you want to go away from the end that we just made, so turn it around, focus on what you're doing. Now do you see right here, there's a large hole? That's because I just worked in that hole. You're going to the next one. You put the hook in, grab the yarn, pull it through, and then you have two. Do it again, pull it through the two. And you just keep doing that until you've finished to the end. Let me get to the end and I'll show you. Oops. I will be making mistakes, and that's okay, because then I'm going to show you. I'm not doing it on purpose, it just will happen. If it happens, I'll show you how to correct it. All of this crocheting I've learned when I was 8, and then I've learned also from YouTubers, mostly. The ones on TikTok are already, they've already been doing this, and they're just sitting there on their lives doing the live TikToks. Now that I've finished it all the way, here it is. This is 12 chains of single crochet. So continue doing that until you make this as big or small as you want, until you feel like you've gotten this. Let me do it one more time. Let me show you how to go back now, because going back is a little bit different. Now you have not just the chain, but you have the single crochet on top of here. So now, if we were going in this direction, now we're at the end, or the beginning, or whatever you want to call it, because we started at this end. We went to the end, and now we come back to the beginning again. See where the working yarn is and the knot? That's where we began. So we're going to go back again. This time, we're going to be going through. Now, people do this different ways, but this is how I'm going to do it. Okay. Still doing the single crochet, but we want to go in right here. But first, make one little chain, and then you're going to go in that one. Pull it out. See? Because what will happen is, we'll take it all the way out. If you just go in to the first stitch that you have there, it's going to start getting smaller. See, because then you'll get on there, and you need to kind of, it's not like really adding one. What it is just, it's hard for me to explain, but I know what I'm doing. You add one chain, but that's to make it kind of come up like that a little bit, so it's not, you know, squishing down. So you just make one little chain, and then you're going to go in. Some people will go in the V. I go in under both of them. So you see that there's this, I don't know if you could see it very well. You're not going to go in there. Some people do, but that's a different kind of stitch. You're going to go where you see the little hole, the next little hole that you go into. Pull that down, make sure that it's all got the tension on it. And so the working part is towards me, and I know it's hard to see, but you're going to go in. So you're underneath that stitch right here. You're going to pull this in. And you got two. You pull it in the two. Now you don't need to make that extra stitch every time you go, along here. That's just to get you started to go in the right one. So you see here where it's all worked into this area, that's the one stitch into it. Then you go to the next one. And you could pull it open a little bit if you want to be able to see it. I can see it because I've gotten my eyes trained to be able to see that. But you see how you pull it open to the next one. Here's one. The first one already has stuff yarn into it, so you're going to go to the next one, the next empty one. Pull through one. Now you have two. Do it again, pull through two. And pull up and down to kind of get it back to here, because you don't want it like this. So pull it back down to where it's not too snug. You want to be able to move this around, and you want to be able to get in each stitch. So now that's the second one, and you're going to go to the next hole next to it, put it in. You're putting it in underneath the V, not into the V. That's going to be a different kind of stitch. It's going to look different. So do it underneath, go out and pull in the thread, the yarn. Now you have two. Pull it through both. Adjust your tension. Make sure that it's even. You see? See how it's starting to form that little group right there? And so the next one, I have to try to show you. I don't want you to get confused. It's easy to do because of how the position of the camera is and everything. So this is from my view. You don't want to go in the same hole. You want to go to the next one right here. Okay. So that's why I like to kind of hold my fingers over the other stitches so I don't go in them by accident. There's the working area right here that we just did. And we're going next door. Pull this through. Now you have two. Pull them through two. So you just continue doing that till you get to your end. Pull it through one, pull it through two. Go through the next one, pull it through once, pull it through again, pull it down. Get it snug. Don't let this get up because it will make the stitch too long. Watch. If you have it like this and you go in, I'm going to purposely do a mistake. See how it is? Too loose. It doesn't look like the rest of them. You're going to have that big holy gap right there. So you take it out. Oops, I did it too long. You did the stitch too big. That's okay. Take it out. Now we're ready to do it again. We've pulled this down to where when you see that it lays down, it's going to be the same. See how it pulls out? It's too long. It needs to be uniform like the rest. So that's where the tension comes in. And you'll learn how to do that by practicing. So you go in under the two, pull the thread through the yarn, pull it through two, and you just pull all the tension. If you need to move your finger closer again, that's okay. This is all part of it. So under the next stitch, which is, it looks like two pieces of yarn. See that? Pull it through. Now you have two. Pull it through again. You'll learn how to do it faster than this. Believe me, I'm just going slow for extreme beginners and people who have a little bit more difficulty catching on to this all. In the comments, if you want to see me doing it even slower, let me know. Now I'm at the end, and it's still the same. You're going to pull this out once, pull it out again, and that's the complete stitch when you finished one, and then you have two stitches on there, pull it through both. That's the complete stitch. Now look at this. Isn't that nice? Now, I wish I could show you what would happen if you didn't put that first little chain. You always begin with another little chain. If you don't, what's going to happen is you're just going to go in here. And then here, 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 here. And then when you go around and you start at the next one, it's going to start having like a tower effect. It's going, which if that's what you're doing, fine. But if you want this to maintain the same amount, let's count them. Make sure that there's 12 and we haven't lost any stitches along the way. The one that's on here on the hook is not a stitch. It's the next one. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Let me see. Okay, at the end. Because I started out with 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I missed one. Did I forget to put that extra one? Even I make mistakes. So let's see. Okay, I've taken it all the way out to the end here again. That's okay. Part of learning is making mistakes. Now, what's going on here? Maybe I forgot to put one at the very end. Okay, let me count again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, I just undid 12 right here. So now there's 12, not counting the hoop and not counting the end little knot, slip knot. So from the slip knot, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. So let me put that on. Now, when you are first starting, there's no way each time you make another chain, it's just going to be another chain. So the first time that you're going back to the first row, you just want to go into the first chain away from this hoop. You don't want to go into the same one that has the yarn in it, the one away from it. So that's 2. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Because the one with the slip knot is too small and tight to be going through again, and that's not counted as a chain. There we go. This is 12. Maybe I didn't do that first loop like you're supposed to do. It's okay to make mistakes. So I did just one. That's why it's getting a little bit confusing for me too. So I'll just slow down. Okay. Now I'm going to make one. Okay. That's to give it that extra one. It's not extra, it's just like on top. Because if you, like I said, if you start in the first one and go through and then go back, pretty soon it's going to get thinner or narrower. So you start each row with one single chain, and you're not going to wrap around or anything. You're just going to go in. This is number one, the next one there, and then two. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see how I'm pulling it with this finger, the tension? 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sometimes that end one is kind of hard to see. That's what I did or didn't do. The very end. And this is 12. Okay? There we go. That's 12. Okay, so I've almost gone to 49 minutes. I'm sorry it's so boring, but that's how you learn. It's repetition. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Let me do another one. Now remember, you're not just going to go with this loop into the first one. You need to make one chain stitch. And then you're going to go into the next one. So that's 1. You see how it kind of gives it 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 at the very end. There we go. And so the ends are pretty straight. And across here, they're all pretty even, wouldn't you say? If there's any in here that are too big or loopy, it's just going to cause it to look out of place. So you want to, and this is what it looks like on the other side, pretty much the same. Now you'll be, if you go in, I don't want to confuse you, but if you go in the V, it's going to do another stitch. It's going to look different. I don't know the name of that stitch, but it will start to change the way that this looks. Also, if you see, I'm working on my side, and I'm going in, need to do the first stitch, and then I'm going in this way from the back, from the part that's next to me. Some people will go in that into the stitch. I'm going behind both of this little V. There's a little hole there, and I'm going in underneath. Some people will go into, see that, how it's in between, it's in the V. It's like this is the stitch, and they're going into the V. I'm going under. See the whole stitch, because it will change the way that you're, whatever you're making, which is fine because it makes a different kind of design. And I don't know what that's called. I don't know what a lot of these stitches are called. I know this one because I recently learned it when I was making my infinity scarf. And it's not, like I was mentioning in the other one, it's not going to be really big enough to twist around. I'm holding on to it and twisting it around. I might be able to loop it over again. I don't think so. I'm going to make my glasses fall off. Ruin my glasses. Looks like I'm trying to hang myself. Well, I shouldn't say that. See that? So, now my hair is all staticky. I don't know why. Maybe it's the winter, the winds, or whatever, but my hair gets so staticky. Should we do one more? No, it's almost an hour and I've only done this much. But take your time. Watch this over again if you need to look. And I did a mistake, not on purpose. But what had happened was at the very, very end, I didn't pick up the last one. Sometimes when you go back over a mistake, you find out what you did wrong. And that's why I like knitting and crocheting. It's kind of like a lot like life. You make a mistake, you go back to the beginning, and you find what the mistake was, and you correct it, and you move forward. So join me next time. I'm going to leave it like this to the next video, but this is enough for today. This one and the other one. Practice the chain, and then practice doing the stitches up. Let's try to do more the next time. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being patient with me.